Alright guys, with the NFL season coming up, I'm going to be showing you guys a strategy that absolutely crushes NFL on Prizepicks. Now, before we get into it, this isn't positive EV, this isn't line shopping, this isn't arbitrage, and you guys already know what those stuff is, right? This is odd jam, that's all we talk about. But basically, this strategy has been so profitable for me. I am now limited to $5 a bet on Prizepicks. That's pretty much all you guys need to know that I am a very profitable sports bettor and that this strategy absolutely crushes on Prizepicks. Now, this is a strategy that has been working for me specifically on NFL. It works on a bunch of other different sports as well, but just with, the football season coming up, I just wanted to bring this to light again because it often gets overlooked as a really profitable sports betting strategy. Now, before we get into it, I just wanted to make sure you guys understand that the only way to become profitable sports betting is to be a data-driven sports bet. It's to play with an edge. I mean, you guys already know this stuff, but I'm going to say it again. You have to be playing with some sort of edge if you want to be profitable in the long term. Otherwise, it's all just completely gambling, right? So before this video starts, I just want to say I'm not guaranteeing you guys any results, right? I'm not going to sit here and guarantee that you guys make a ton of money or hit every single slip that you place. But obviously, this is just a tool for you guys to use and help you guys with your football sports betting this upcoming season. It's worked for me in the past. It never has not worked for me. So, I mean, history repeats itself. It should work for you guys too. Just make sure you follow along properly and understand this video. Super simple strategy. Looking at these last 10 matchups, all of this stuff that I see a lot of other content creators post about for strategies, it's all really just a waste of time because like I mentioned, some of these last 10 head-to-head matchups aren't even from the same season. Some of these players that were on the teams that have super important matchups aren't even on that team anymore. So with all of these changes that happen in the offseason, right, with NFL starting again, we need to have some sort of strategy in place that doesn't really just rely on matchups, that doesn't rely on the past, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow regardless of how much stats we had lined up or in previous matchups. And all of these sports books, as you guys know, already bake all of this information into their odds, into their lines. So it's super important that we have some sort of other strategy that's reliable to help us, cash in and hit more of our player props, hit more of our parlays. So with that being said, let's absolutely crush Prizepicks and get straight into this video. Alright guys, and before we even get into this video, I just want to let you guys know I'm not going to be talking about arbitrage, I'm not going to be talking about positive EV. I know you guys are super tired of hearing those same strategies over and over again, so today I came up with something a little bit different. Well, not really came up with, but I just want to bring to light this Prizepicks strategy that absolutely crushes during the NFL season. It's called correlation. Basically, correlation is super important because of the way Prizepicks works. Now, if you've used Prizepicks before or if you are completely new to Prizepicks, basically, Prizepicks will pay you the same exact amount no matter whether you choose the over or the under. It's called a fixed payout system, right? Whereas if you go on DraftKings or FanDuel or any other sports book, you're going to get paid a completely different amount, right? The over could be a -140 and the under could be a +100, right? That means you're going to get paid out 40 cents different, right? So if you put $100 down on the under at a +100 prop, you're going to get paid out $100 back. If you put $140 down on the over at a -140 prop, you're going to get paid out $100 back. So bottom line is, right, Prizepicks pays you out at a fixed rate. It's a completely fixed structure, so that means we can take advantage of correlated props to get an edge over Prizepicks. Now, what does correlation mean? Right, correlation basically just means if one prop happens, that means another prop is more likely to happen and vice versa. That's common correlation, right? So for example, the best example that I can give you guys is the NFL's quarterback and wide receiver, right? Quarterback props or passing yard props, if the quarterback goes over his line, it's more likely that his wide receiver will also go over his receiving yards line. That's correlation. Vice versa, if Jalen Hurts here goes under his 219-yard pass line, then it's more likely Devonta Smith will also go under his 54.5 receiving yards line. Now, the thing with this is Prizepicks knows when two props are correlated. Right? Before they didn't, it was a lot more broken back then, but now they kind of know. But this whole strategy kind of relies on figuring out, right, your angles, taking the best angles to correlation. Correlation doesn't just mean to take any quarterbacks over and pair it with his wide receivers over. You only take correlation when it makes sense. And that's what I kind of mean by choosing your angles. And this is what we're going to be doing on Prizepicks to get the best edge, right? So we all know, right, OddsJam, what they do is they point out value in the market, right? They point out all of the line discrepancies, the best lines that you can get across the different sports books. And we all use the fantasy optimizer here to do this. This is what I use, right? So we can take advantage of a whole lot of value here. So that's the first point that I like to make. Anytime a quarterback's over or a wide receiver's over pops up with a good amount of value here, I mean, right now, the optimizer doesn't have too much for the NFL, but usually when the NFL season actually kicks off and there's a whole lot of games going on, there's going to be a ton of value, a ton of lines. So whenever a quarterback's line props up with a good discount on Prizepicks or good lines, right, we're getting a good discount, good edge, I will oftentimes look on Prizepicks for his wide receiver. So this is going to be the first strategy that I like to do, is using the OddsJam optimizer to look for value. Whenever value pops up, what I'll do, right, like I mentioned, let's say, for example, we had Jalen Hurts at 219 pass yards. His wide receiver is Devonta Smith, right, 54.5 receiving yards. We also have A.J. Brown, but for this example, we're going to go with Devonta. So if you notice here, our payouts shift a little bit from the common 3x to the 2.5x because the props are correlated. But that's when we have both of these guys on going over. Now, if we choose both of these guys going under, we also have a 2.5x. So it's the same, right? Over and under are the same. Now, this is important because I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to switch over to ChatGPT here, and I want you to just kind of look at the stats that it spat out for me. So switching over to ChatGPT, I asked it, what percent of the time has these two players hit both of these props together, right? Meaning over, have they gone over in the last season? Gave me a whole bunch of stats here. And the most important one that I want you guys to look at is both props hitting together was at a 26.7% hit rate. Okay, these two guys, when Jalen Hurts went over his passing yards, Devonta Smith went over his passing yards, only 26.7% of the time. But when these guys both went under, I said, how many times have these players went under these lines together? 33.3% of the time. That's about a 8% difference, right? Or if I'm doing my math correctly, 8% difference, right? But if we go back to Prizepicks, remember, we're still getting that 2.5x regardless of whether we choose the over or the under. So we are getting around a 7% edge if we just go with the under here. So again, right, this has nothing to do with the fantasy optimizer. I kind of wanted to just make that point, get that point out of the way if there's value. That's the first thing I'd look at. But the second kind of angle that I'm creating for myself here, the second point of whether or not this correlation makes sense or not, is the edge that I'm getting, right? If Jalen Hurts is going under with Devonta Smith under 33% of the time compared to the 26%, I'm obviously going to want to play this at a, this angle here, the under. So, there's a whole bunch of different correlation strategies that we can go over on Prizepicks, right? Receiving yards, quarterbacks passing yards is just kind of the most common one that I want to go over in today's video, just because of how easy it is, how easy the example is to understand. It can get a whole lot more intricate, depending on what you want to do, what kind of slip you want to create. But the easiest one to understand here is just pairing the quarterback with the wide receiver. Now, incorporating ChatGPT into this is huge because I don't have to go and look and run all of these different data prompts for figuring out how many times these players have gone over together. I get an answer in literal seconds with ChatGPT. And then obviously, I like to combine stuff that I find on OddsJam and run it through ChatGPT. And if both of them make sense, right, if all of the angles that I'm looking at make sense, then I know that it's a good correlation prop. And obviously, I know I'm not getting the common 3x here, but there's nothing much you can really do to go around the payout shift with correlation on Prizepicks. Nevertheless, it is a really good strategy to use if you're looking to, beat Prizepicks, beat NFL on Prizepicks. Obviously, if you want a different strategy than simply just, positive EV and finding all of this, optimized slip types and all of this stuff, right? For the more average sports bettor, for the more common, I guess, non-sharp, non-syndicate sports bettor, this is a really good strategy to use, correlating your props, because you're going to see a lot higher of a hit rate. Your props are going to hit a lot higher of a percentage of the time, right? Than if you were to just guess or do some research of matchups and all of these different things. I mean, yes, right, matchups and all of that stuff can play a part, but more so just being able to find props that correlate together is the main points of this strategy. So again, not just in NFL, right? In NBA, the exact same thing. Taking a point guard's assist like Stephen Curry, and then taking his shooting guard's points or his center's points. There's a lot of angles that you can take when it comes to correlation. NFL is just a huge one with the season coming up, and this is a very good strategy that I've used throughout my career of sports betting to be limited to only $5 a bet. I mean, if you look, I'll take Dak Prescott here for the 3-leg, and then I'll try to submit it for $20. It's not going to go through. Wait for it to pop up here, but yeah, the max, even on discounts, I can only get in $5. So this is just one of my main strategies that I like to use on Prizepicks, especially with the NFL, just because of how much volume there's going to be. But yeah, that's basically the entire strategy of correlation. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do to combine slips and make different slips, but yeah, that's the whole basis of the strategy. All right, guys, and before we end off the video, just a quick disclaimer. I am not guaranteeing you guys any results. This is just advice and strategy that you guys can use to gamble responsibly, to sports bet responsibly, because remember, at the end of the day, sports betting is a type of gambling. So always manage your bankroll, have a good unit management system, right? Don't bet more than what you can afford to lose. I'm not guaranteeing you guys any types of results. Hopefully, this strategy is something that you can implement this NFL season because it's very well known. It's worked for me. It's worked for many, many profitable sports bettors. So it should work for you too because history does repeat itself. But with that being said, again, I'm sorry for the lack of uploads and I'm sorry for the booth setup right now. I'm currently waiting for my new house to be ready for me to move into, so you're just going to have to bear with me for a little bit longer. But wanted to get this video out to you guys because I know the NFL season is coming up super, super quick, and I want you guys to have something to kind of just base your strategy off of to hopefully make you a good amount of money, especially at peak NFL times, because if you love football as much as I do, betting on it only makes it a lot more fun to watch. But yeah, guys, with that being said, I hope this video helped you out. If it did, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.